Do you ever take the lines where they told you not to go, where they told you not to fly?
Ben Leece now, he's got a brand new single out and a brand new album. The album's called No Wonder the World is Exhausted, and Ben joins us now. Ben, congratulations on the new album, and it must have been a lot of fun working with Shane Nicholson.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was great. Kind of nerve-wracking going in. I'd never really met Shane before, but we sort of, through the process, become like pretty good mates, and yeah, he's definitely been a mentor.
I've got to say, you got a really interesting voice. When I first heard it, I thought it reminded me a bit of Jason Isbell, and there's that Americana folk sound to it, but it's so rich. How did you first get into music, and when did you realise you had that style of voice?
Oh man, thank you very much, first of all. I guess music, I was just around music forever. My dad played music in a band, and my uncle, and yeah, it was just something I always sort of aspired to, I guess. As far as realising anything, I probably still don't, to be honest.
Who influenced you?
I definitely love Jason Isbell, for sure. I come from like a rock and roll or punk background, I guess. I love a band called The Replacements, so Paul Westerberg. I probably came to the genre through bands like Sun Volt, so Jay Farrar and the Old 97s, bands like that. I love Jim Lauderdale, sort of, yeah, the 70s classic country, Graham Parsons, Burrito Brothers.
There's no surprise that we hear that sound. Looking at the film clips too, there's something a little different about the way you put together the film clips. We spent a bit of time watching the Villains film clip. It's certainly dark in the way it's put together. What was the story behind that to get to that finish?
Well, probably more budget than anything, I guess. A friend of mine, Braden Porter, he shot the clip, and we had no money whatsoever. So it was just probably coming up with the idea and then his editing. And I don't think we really intended it to end up being so dark. It just kind of ended up that way. Sorry.
It's what happens on the cutting floor, I suppose, I think.
That's right.
The other clip, which is Chalk and Cheese, which I had a look at, was Rebel Alone, yeah. Absolutely fantastic. A load of fun. I love all the clips and the images coming through there. Was that your writing?
That's another budget story. So at Braden again, so I own a rehearsal studio in Newcastle, and we do music tuition of an afternoon during the school term, and we'd planned to shoot this on a day that we had tuition coming in behind it. Braden was about 5 hours late to the shoot, so we ended up with about 2 hours to do it before we had to be packed up. So I think we spent maybe an hour, 40 minutes to an hour trying to come up with an idea, because the idea that we had wasn't going to work with the time we had. And then we shot it in about 40 minutes. So we just like, what if we do a spoof of a YouTube pedal review or gear review?
It works well. I think all the musos out there are going to get a big kick of it. And I do notice that this week, Tori Forsyth is sitting at number 39 on the charts, and you've had her do some backing vocals with you in the past.
I have, yeah. So Tori's a pretty good mate of mine. I met her through a guy called Trent Crawford, and he'd recorded Tori's first EP. And when I recorded, I did a 7-inch record with Trent last year, and he suggested that we get Tori to do backing vocals on one of the songs, Trace. And yeah, through that I met her, and we've since become pretty good mates. And she and Trent actually introduced me to Shane.
Ben, you're actually currently on your No Wonder the World is Exhausted tour. You've already done Sydney, you're doing Maitland this weekend, you've got Melbourne, Brisbane, Tamworth. You've got quite a few places coming up over the next couple of months. For people at home that want to find out where you are, what is probably the best way? Would that be your website or Facebook, just all the social media pages?
Probably the website, and then there's links to everything from there. These days people do different forms of social media, so there's links to each one there, and then obviously the tour dates and links to tickets and stuff there. benleece.net.
Great to catch up with you tonight. This is the single, it's called Villains. This is Ben Leece.
And if your world was coming